Okay, for this program's workout, we are going to start with a slow, grow, go warm-up. So this is some things that we've done before, like dynamic mobility, but also a couple of new things. The first block is going to be the slow block. So we're going to slow down. This is after you've already done 5 to 10 minutes of cardio of choice. Then you're going to try to get out of that sympathetic fight or flight situation that your nervous system is in from a busy day, from stress, whatever it is, and you're going to try to bring it down a little bit. So first thing we're going to do in that block is some self-myofascial release. This program we're going to be doing some split squats. When you think about what you do with a split squat, you're working your legs. So let's go ahead and foam roll our quads. 2 ways I want you to do this. First, you can go on the first leg, one leg at a time, almost like you're in a plank position, and then get in place on the first leg. And then from there, just little oscillating movements like 2 to 3 inches in one spot. And then after you've done that for maybe 30 seconds or so, a couple breaths, then you can also do a little trigger point release. So then you're going to stop on the foam roller, make sure you have a pretty solid core position, and then bring the heel up and then kick it back out. So think, bring that heel in toward the glute and then kick back out straight. That is definitely a little spicy for me, so after about 3 kicks, I'm gonna move on to another part of the quad. And I might do that in 2 to 3 spots, just kind of depends where my pain points are today. And then after I've done that on one side, a couple more trigger point releases. Ooh, that's an extra spicy spot for me. And then I'm gonna switch to the other side. So now I'm on the right leg. If you were on the right to start, just switch to the left, kind of getting that nice plank position here, finding my first spot, doing some of those little oscillating movements. Show you from the side as well. And then after about 30 seconds there, finding a spot that kind of I want to settle on and do that trigger point release, heel up and in, and then heel out. Kick it up, kick it out, maybe one more time, inhaling, exhaling, and not too long, just moving right on to the next spot. For me, I'm going to go a little further up. Keep that plank position with the forearms. A little more trigger point. And all this is doing is getting my connective tissue, my fascia, to release any of those tight spots so that I can eventually get into a deeper range of motion. So that was for the quads. Another spot that people often need this release is the T-spine. The thoracic spine, that's the mid-back, so not the cervical, not the lumbar, but the mid-spine. What happens is that gets really tight from driving, from sitting at a desk, from using cell phones. When that gets tight, our back still needs to move, and the spine starts to move a lot in the cervical and the low back. That's what leads to neck pain, low back pain. So if we can restore mobility and movement to the mid-back, the T-spine, then these can be more static like they should be. So let's go ahead and foam roll the T-spine. You're going to take your foam roller and kind of put it where text would be on a jersey. And then you're going to cross your arms over, grab opposite shoulder, pick the glutes up, and kind of hug yourself in. So like a little elbow towards the knees. And then just a little roll here. So again, you're trying to bring yourself out of that fight or flight into rest and digest parasympathetic. So let's take an inhale in the nose, out the mouth. One more in the nose, out the mouth. And then from there, you're going to take your hands, come around behind the ears. And usually people really overdo this extension. But when you do that, you kind of lose the ribs and you lose the T-spine. So I want you to think, shut the garage door and kind of keep the ribs down. And then just there, elbows wide, some foam rolling. Then from there, you can set the glutes down, thumbs by the ears, and kind of reach back, look back, follow with your eyes to your thumbs, and then crunch forward. We'll do that 2 more times. Inhale, reaching back. Exhale, coming forward, little crunch. And try not to go so far that you lose those ribs. Think, shut the garage door, keep them pinned, and then back forward. So that was the first chunk of the slow. The second chunk of the slow block is going to be what I call biphasic stretching. Sounds very fancy, but basically looks like this. Since we were just working the quads, we're gonna keep working this area that we'll use for split squats. So for this first one, I'm gonna have right knee down, left knee up, kind of a 90-90 position. And then from there, I'm gonna lean forward, keeping the heel planted, kind of as far as I feel like I can go, and then ease out. So forward about 2 inches, squeezing my back right glute, back about 1 inch. So what I'm exploring here is what is my end range when it comes to this hip flexor and maybe this ankle. So I'm gonna keep that heel down. When I feel like there's nowhere else I can go, I'm gonna think posterior pelvic tilt, squeeze both glutes hard. Imagine pulling this foot back and pushing this knee forward and just hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And kind of ease out, see if that feels like it got a little more mobility for me. It definitely did. Same thing on the other side, right foot up, leaning forward for 2, easing out for 1. Find that end range on the other side. Probably already you're gonna be noticing side to side differences. That's the whole point of this warm up, the whole point of this program. So once you find that end range, squeeze, pulling back, pushing forward, tilting at the pelvis for 3, 2, 1. Good. So then we did the quads. Let's do the upper body as well. I forgot to tell my videographer about this one. Let's see if you can still see me here. Is this okay? All right. So for this one, I'm going to use a TRX, a suspension trainer. If you do not have that, anything like a door, a counter, a wall maybe even, that you can kind of lean into, and then with your hand on something rotate around will work. Even like a kitchen counter, lean over and just kind of touch the counter. So I'm kind of hinging at the hips, think karate chop there. Then I'm gonna take my left arm and kind of cross it over my rib cage. And I'm gonna just try to bring that left shoulder through, look under the right arm. The TRX is nice because your hand can rotate, which feels really good. And then all the way over to the other side. So I'm bringing my spine through this rotational movement. It's hitting that T-spine area that we just mobilized on the foam roller, and it just feels really, really good. Then try it on the other side. See if you notice any sticky points that are different side to side. You also are kind of mobilizing all of that lat area that you use in pulling motions, like a chin-up or a lat pull-down. And those are both great movements, the biphasic quad stretch and the rotational hinge mobilizing move for intracep mobility as well. So remember those for later. Okay, now block 2. First check in for a minute. Did you kind of slow down? Maybe you had a busy day at work. Maybe you had a really intense cardio warm up, and that actually kind of got your nervous system to chill out a little. So that was the purpose of the slow block. Now we're gonna grow that a little bit. We're gonna do a few correctives, and then we're gonna kind of get a little bit activated and stable. So for correctives, almost everybody needs a little bit of correction in how they move and how they brace the core, especially when they're lifting. So let's just do some very basic ones. This one, we've done this move before, but we've not done it with this level of intention and tension. So what I want you to do is come into laying on your back, knees up in a tabletop position, arms overhead. We're gonna do a dead bug, but we're gonna kind of progress it differently than we have before. So I want you to first think right arm, really, really strong and intense and having a lot of intention there, almost like you're pulling it back overhead. And then bring it back up. Inhale back, really intense this time. Left leg starts pushing out like it's a leg press, really intense, and then pull back together. Do that one more time. Right arm, left leg, leg press, pulling overhead, bring back together. Then other side, just left arm at first, pulling, exhaling forward. One more time, this time pushing that right foot out like a leg press, 1 inch off the floor at the bottom. Back together. One more. And then let's just do each one way, lots of tension. And then this is the really tricky part. This time just arms, both arms. Then just legs. And then let's see if we can put that all together. Arms and legs into a full hollow body. Hold and squeeze for 3, 2, 1. Good stuff. All body weight. How does your body feel? Hopefully like you're a little bit more primed and activated, right? So that was the dead bug. Let's do the same thing but for the bird dog. So flip over, all fours. At first, the right hand next to the jaw, pushing out, maybe turning the shoulder as you go, and then exhale, pulling back in. Tons of tension. Making lightweight, in this case no weight, feel heavy. Then same thing, this time the left toe drags out, and then both come in. Let's do one more together. Other side, left arm by the face, pushing out like you're pushing through a wall. Exhaling, pulling back in. Add that right leg like you're dragging the toe out. Squeeze the glute. And then all together. Really tune into the core. If I came around and tapped you under here, you would want it to be super tight. Like if you got punched in the stomach, you'd be totally fine. Whew, core is completely activated. And then let's do a little bit more to just get the body a little primed. So this is a banded 3-way. Didn't tell Sean about this one either. He's gonna try to track me with the camera. Let me know if I get out of shot there. Okay, I just hitched this band around something, okay? First, we're gonna do some face pulls to activate the upper shoulder region. So band is a little bit high, pulling towards my face. As I pull towards my face, elbows stay high and band comes apart. Okay, so just 10 here. Just activating, not annihilating. Doesn't have to be crazy, but definitely feeling my shoulders start to warm up. Another point I want to make before we get into the third block, because the third block really starts to be almost like a workout, is at this point, you should also be checking in mentally and emotionally. So not only like how was your day, how's your energy level, but also like when did you eat last? Are you hydrated? Did you get enough sleep last night? What other stressors do you have going on in your life? And just kind of set an intention, kind of have a mindful moment as you get yourself ready for the workout. A lot of people skip the warm up, skip checking in with themselves, and then later are like, why was that lift kind of crappy? Well, you gotta kind of see where you're at that day and then set an intention accordingly, okay? The next one we're gonna do is pull aparts. So holding one band, a light band, and also depending on how stretched out the band is, further apart or closer together, you'll see. Going right about nipple line there, and we'll just do 10. Also watch my hands here. We're gonna not only pull apart, but turn the hands outward. So that'll mean the rotator cuff is rotating through its full range of motion here. So pull apart, rotate the hands, pinch a pencil between the shoulder blades, looks like this. That was 3. And just do about 10 there. The rotation is really key here. So make sure you're getting your shoulders to go through that range of motion. I know, it's a great visual as well. All right, and then let's do some overhead. This band honestly is like not really hard enough for that, so I'm gonna just choke up a little bit so it's not as stretchy. Give myself a little more challenge and do about 10 here. You bring your shoulders through that full range of motion. Now, if you get stuck, that's okay. Just take a breath and then bring it back. And then week to week, you might find you get a little further. And eventually, one day, you'll be able to go all the way around. So just meet your body where it is. Don't force it. And that's going to warm up that upper body. All right, now the last block is your go block. Basically, you're warmed up and you're just priming and getting your nervous system super ready for lifting a little bit heavier. So in this block, we're gonna do one thing we've already done before, which is pattern priming. This workout starts with split squats. So for that, all we're gonna do is get into that split squat position. Remember, train tracks, not tightrope, so make sure you have that solid base. And then from there, we're just going to come down and up for 5 per side. We can be straight up and down like an elevator, or we can lean forward 45 degrees, feel more glute, Up to you, but most of the weight should be in the front foot here. Then switch sides, elevator, or 45-degree lean. Just make sure that knee is tracking out over the pinky toe and not caving in. Couple more there. All right, that is primed. The last thing is activating your whole nervous system to be ready to go. So this is something kind of new that I learned at my newest certification. We are going to use speed to prime ourselves for max effort lifting. You can also go the other way, just so you know. So if you're a runner, for example, you can do like a heavy deadlift and it will prime you to run really fast. But we're gonna do the opposite. We're gonna do some speed and it's gonna prime us to lift weights. So we're gonna do 5 jacks and 1 jump and then rest and then repeat that 2 times. So it looks like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then using your arms, vertical jump, chill, feel your heartbeat kind of come up a little bit. Again, we're not annihilating here, we're activating, so we're gonna rest a little bit. Do it again, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The jump with the arms, rest a little bit, walk it out, and then last one, here we go, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The last jump. You're all warmed up, let's get started.